for you guys, so you can have this later. Welcome, guys. Thank you for stopping by. Mark, look who I found. This is something a little bit different. We have REO Asset Managers from Wells Fargo.
Oh, wonderful.
Mr. Michael Parker, who says he recognizes you. I'm not sure where. Probably the post office? Or
yeah, he probably gets the most wanted list
There
occasionally.
you go. And then we have Dave Riggio, who is also an REO Asset Manager, and you guys are based out of the downtown office in Phoenix. Thank you for joining us.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're on. You're on KQCK Live. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
Well, basically, we're housed out of the Plaza, Wells Fargo Main Plaza, downtown Phoenix, and we handle the properties, Dave and I and another gentleman, for all the foreclosed properties in the state of Arizona.
It's been a busy time for you. How long have you been doing it?
It has. We've been together now about 7 years.
Okay, and then you've been in the foreclosure market yourself with Wells Fargo for 7 years.
4 years
as well?
myself, David 7 years. I've been in the mortgage business over 30 myself.
Over
Dave
30?
about 15.
So you guys have just seen this storm and weathered through it on the lender's side. So we've been fortunate. The listeners, see, we've got a camera. I hope they can see me rolling my eyes. We've been fortunate to be on the side of those who are losing their house. It's been rough, is all I'm saying.
It has.
It has been a rough, has it been 5 years now? How long has it been?
At least
7.
Now, Wells really didn't have a whole lot of REOs, though, a lot of foreclosures. So compared to other banks, you guys did very well in the last several years, right?
We have personally, but the size of Wells, with the servicing that we do, we have a lot of other banks and entities that we handle the business for.
So Wachovia, that had a lot of foreclosures that you guys took care of, right?
Correct.
Right.
Well, I can tell you, to your kudos, that I've done a lot of work with clients who are losing their homes over. And you say 7 years, it hasn't been that long. When I think it was in 2007. Is that when the market started?
That's right. Yeah.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We're about 5. We're about 5 years, I think, of this. And we both had full heads of hair, I'm sure, before this hit. But there were some lenders that were just hard to work with. And I must say, Wells Fargo has kept pretty steady. I mean, you've had your ups and downs as far as from our view looking in, but pretty steady at being at the top of those lenders, easier to work with than most others. I mean,
we like to believe that. Exactly.
Working
right.
and I won't say names except for M&I Bank, Chase. I'll throw a couple. Bank of America for a while. They've improved. Countrywide before they went out, because I was in the very beginning, so I went through the Countrywide drop.
Sure.
And so, what did you guys do? Why? What did you guys do different that made it so that you could work with people throughout this period and not be on my hit list?
Well, I think most people, when they think of Wells Fargo, they think of a good image, a good brand name over the years, and they're really customer service oriented and is trying to do whatever we can to help our customers. And so, unfortunately, foreclosure, we've seen a lot of them, but that is our last resort. We try to exhaust all options before that to keep these homeowners in their homes, and then if it is the last resort of foreclosure, then we go forward with it. And then what we do is we separate ourselves from the competition to really take away that stigma that it's an REO property, and we try and stabilize the community by selling to different organizations, nonprofit organizations, to really try and rebuild the community and neighborhood.
I had a lot of clients who've asked me as they've come. And interestingly enough, on my background, I never planned to get into bankruptcy and foreclosure and that type of work. As a business lawyer doing estate planning, and I'm doing my best to get back into business law and estate planning. It's just I was needed during those period of time for my clients. But they would ask me over and over again, why won't the banks work with us? Why would they rather get the property back than work with us?
I think that's a great question. Why don't the other banks have that mentality to keep them these people in their homes as much as they can? And really,
do you think it was a direction down from your board? Is that, what's the difference?
I think once again it goes all back to our image. We don't want to be seen as that predator out there. We want to be seen as the hero, helping everybody as much as we can. We appreciate our customers, we value them, and we want to do everything we can and exhaust all options before we have to resort to foreclosure or short sale. And if we do resort to those, we do the best we can to make it a positive experience for all involved, if possible, as much as you possibly can.
Let's talk about the process a little bit. Homeowners, they believe that if they're upside down and they miss one payment, next month they're out of there.
Yeah, the sheriff's going to be banging on the door and throwing them out, which is just absolutely not the case in Arizona,
exactly.
or in most states, actually.
What happens internally in Wells Fargo when somebody has been 15 days? That's your first trigger, 15 days late? Or is that your first trigger?
Actually, 15 internally, to give them another 15 days of free grace period, make the payment within that 30-day period, they're fine. Then after that, it becomes a 90-day situation.
And does it switch departments? Again, people are curious as to how the inner workings...
Definitely. 3 or 4 different departments. The late payment department, the malfeasance department, and then the foreclosure department will start looking at it after 90 days. But as we all know, that becomes a 6, 8, 10, 12, 15-month situation.
It does.
So it's still 10-plus months for the NOD?
Easily.
Really? Now, is that because of the capacity at the bank, or is that just because that's your policy to give everybody ultimate last chance, one more chance? So what if somebody's not working with you? Because what we find a lot is people just bury their heads. They don't look at the mail. They don't see that you want to help them.
Answer the phone.
Exactly. They don't answer the
They're
phone.
overwhelmed.
Exactly. How do you deal with that situation? Do you have to put your foot down and say, this is going to happen, we're going to go to auction?
People that don't answer us, or like you say, don't answer the mail or get back to us or make any effort on their part, those are the ones that we actually will take the next step on. The ones that address it immediately within that first week or so. I lost my job, my wife lost her job, we're late on a payment. Those are the people we look at constantly and take care of from day to day. And that's why Wells has the reputation it has.
Sure. And at that point, then are we talking loan modification that you start with? So you've got a process?
We certainly
So do you have a forbearance on the payments that are past due? Do you cut that into little pieces and make them pay it monthly, or?
Well, it would always depend on the situation. Right?
Sure.
We look at we'll make them send us some information as far as their income and so on, what's going on, and say, hey, we'll cut this down this much. We'll start looking at lower interest rates for you, stretching it out a little bit, maybe taking it out from 30 to 40 years, whatever we could do to make it work.
Sure. Now, is it a misnomer that banks have started doing principal write-downs or waiving the principal part of the principal balance? Is that happening?
That is a possibility. There's several modifications out there, with the government. They've come up with their own, and then Wells Fargo, these banks have their own as well. And there are principal balance reduction, write-offs, interest rate reductions. There are too many to name, really.
But most of those are relatively recent. Is that right?
They've been going on for a few years now. I would say within the past 3 to 4 years at least. And and so
a principal reduction type.
Principal reduction. You don't see it. You didn't see it as commonly beforehand, but you are seeing a little bit more now. And then you're seeing, as I mentioned once again, government intervention, N.A.H.R.E.P 2.0, allowing them to refinance.
Right.
That's helping people, and that's really limiting the inventory of short sales and REOs. So we're doing everything we can to try and help these people stay in there.
Now, has the N.A.H.R.E.P 2.0 been successful?
We know that the banks, and especially Wells Fargo, has been inundated with refinance.
I heard a couple months for applications at this point. Is that true?
I don't have the specifics on that. I just know we've seen a huge increase in volume with the refinance. Partially due to the N.A.H.R.E.P 2.0, and then of course the low interest rates that are currently out there.
And for those that don't know, N.A.H.R.E.P 2.0 basically is a government program that allows refinance regardless of how upside down or what your LTV is on your property. So you could owe $200,000, your property could be worth $75,000, and you'll refinance that loan into a more comparable interest rate, into a lower interest rate, just as long as they've been current. So that's a program for those with a current market value, right? Outstanding.
A lot of my clients come into my office to plan a strategic default. A few moments ago, Tom made the comment that I disagreed with. He said, there's nothing wrong with that. And then I corrected him. I said, well, it depends on your point of view. What's Wells Fargo's point of view on the strategic defaults, meaning somebody knows they're protected by the anti-deficiency statute, but they're going to try to walk away and try a short sell, try whatever, but they can afford the house. They're just so far upside down that they don't want to keep the house. What's your positions on that?
I think we're against it. We don't condone it. We really, if you got the money, you can make the payments and make the payment. So we do not condone that.
Do you have any short sale programs that allows it?
I couldn't tell you, to be honest.
Okay.
I don't think so. Like I said, we really try to shy away from that and help those who are really in desperate need of help.
So here come some hard questions. And again, it's come from the eyes of an attorney that represents that side of it all the time. They look at us and they say, in my office all the time, the banks caused this. Here I am, a homeowner, doing my best. My house was worth $600. Now it's worth $300. My mortgage is $500 and something. The banks cause this. Why won't they work with me just because I make a good living, right? I'm a doctor, lawyer, whatever. I'm making a good living. Why won't they work with me?
Well, the bank will work you with it. Wells will work with you, Mark, like you said. If we know the value is down, which we do, we send appraisers out there. We'll do street appraisals constantly. And we'll have no problem with lowering that payment if you come with us with the right point of view and thought process behind it. There's no problem there.
Okay, good. Are there possibilities even in that scenario? So, again, I have doctors, lawyers, engineers. I have high-paying individuals come to me, investors, and they've got this house. And we're just talking about a residence first, because I understand it's different than when we step into investments. We'll do that in a second. We're just talking about their primary residence. And they say, man, most lenders won't deal with me because I earn too much.
Well, when you say won't deal with you, what are you trying to do?
They won't lower the principal at all.
They won't.
Most lenders that I deal with are completely inflexible on lowering the principal balance to an individual that can afford the payment. So they're in there and they're saying, mortgage is $550,000, but my house is only worth $300,000 now, but I make, $250,000 a year. I can afford the payment, therefore the lender won't work with me. They won't lower the principal. They just say it's my problem because I agreed to the loan. I get that often.
I understand it. I totally appreciate it. We'll certainly work with the payment, but you're right. The principal itself is something a little more touchy. I'm sure they're probably developing something where we might be able to answer that in a few months, but at this point, you're exactly right. We're not going to.
And by the way, I appreciate very, very much that you're not the one sitting in the boardrooms, right? Making the decisions. But I've got to say that it's been from the perspective of seeing everybody come through my office now for 5 years, it really has baffled me some that the lenders have not been more flexible at striking deals somewhere in the middle, right? You're 100,000 upside down, we'll reduce it by 50 if you sign new notes, that type of stuff. It's rare that happens, and that's baffled me because I think it would be a win-win situation if lenders would do that, negotiate and meet somewhere in the principal balance reduction, even for those clients who can afford their properties. But I realize you're not in those decision-making shoes at all.
But the reason why we're here today, the N.A.H.R.E.P convention or the N.A.H.R.E.P seminar that we're at, the values are going back up, Mark. So the bank is going to say, hey, let's give it 6 months. Let's give it 12 months. Arizona's a strong market.
Reduce the payment, let them stay in the house, make a lower payment,
exactly right.
and then it's going to correct itself.
There
Now,
you
Mike,
go.
I see that you're a speaker today. What breakout session did you speak at?
We're actually going to try to talk about the new state of the REO business in the state.
Gotcha.
And how it's diminished. It's gone to short sales and deeds in lieu, as Mark would be familiar with. That's where we're going to, and that's what Wells is basically doing. We're kind of on the back burner now, although we know there's a lot of inventory still there. We're trying to do everything we can to make those people happy with what they have now.
Yeah, and I've had lenders attempt with us deeds in lieu, but very few of them are successful because it's so common for them to find a second lien floating out there somewhere.
Right.
They took out a second mortgage, they got a business loan they attached to it, they've got a tax lien, they got something else stuck on there that prohibits a deed in lieu.
That's true. That is true.
So, but banks have reached out lately. I've noticed that reaching out.
Yeah, like you said, if we hold the note, it's a portfolio product, we're absolutely pushing that as well, a deed in lieu, because the reality is it saves the bank a lot of money.
It does.
Avoid having to hire a trustee to conduct the sale, a lesser risk of possible vandalism to the property while it sits vacant, and so we are pushing that as well.
Now, investor properties. Let's really briefly talk about the differences that people can expect when it's an investment property rather than a primary residence. What differences can they expect in dealing with Wells Fargo?
You mean to purchase one, Mark?
No.
You mean an investor?
The workout options.
There's going to be no difference. We're going to treat everybody equally. Like you said earlier, our CEO has that Midwestern mentality of
wonderful.
Let's take care of everybody alike. We're not going to look at what their situation is. If the house and the situation is the way it is, then we'll take care of it.
Well, we appreciate Wells Fargo. I can tell you with all the short sales that we do, when we see it's Wells Fargo, I tell my clients, it's going to be easy. It's not perfect system yet. They haven't worked out all their wrinkles yet. But compared to, and I don't want to mention too many names, but man, yesterday dealing with PNC. I hope if they have a rep here, somebody find them and get them here.
They won't sit down because they know it's you. They won't sit down.
Holy crap.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. I got to give you guys one plug, though. I've been with Wells Fargo since I was 18 years old.
Okay.
I've had 3 mortgages. Never had an issue. I love walking in your branches. Love them when they say, how you doing when you walk in the branches, and they take care of you. So, I mean, you talked about your brand, outstanding brand. Great job, guys. Thank you so much. We need banks like you guys. So
Appreciate it, gentlemen.
Absolutely.
And my mortgage is with Wells Fargo.
Yes. So there you go.
I say. I just, in fact, I did the Streamline.
Okay.
About what, 6 months?
A couple months ago, yeah.
Oh, that was frustrating.
Well, it wasn't Wells. He went through a banker through a banker who
That's true. It
sold
was the
to Wells.
bankers,
So.
and it was the bankers' challenge, I'm sure. But it went from Wells to Wells, and I'm thinking, why is she having all these flipping problems?
It's her I'll tell you, it's because they had overlays to get it to sell. It wasn't Wells. They probably didn't even know they're going to get the loan until the day that it was, probably 30 days after it was funded.
You're listening to the expert here, Mark.
Yeah. I've been in business 25 plus years. So,
Exactly.
But anyway, gentlemen, thank you so much
Appreciate it.
for joining us. Again, this is KQCK Live.
Thank you for joining
Thank you so much. Have a great
We
day.
appreciate all you're doing for Wells Fargo. You keep up the good work. Keep up the good work. Again, we're broadcasting live at the Phoenician, KQCK, with Tom Diller and Mark Wynn.
And look at this. We have another guest immediately. Look how that works. We have Nick Vara, a brand new company. Actually, it's not new, but in Arizona, you guys are growing like crazy.
And Nick, what was the last name?
Vara.
Nick Vara. And what company are you with?
Axia Home Loans.
Yeah, Axia from Washington or sir?
Bellevue, Washington.
Yeah, you guys just came down here not too long ago, and you guys are now opening your second branch.
Here in the Arizona. Just in Arizona, it's our second branch, and then we've done 12 nationally in the last couple of months. Just really, or in the last year, just really killing.
Really?
New
So
branches.
what is different about what you're doing? Because it's a hard market, right?
Especially for lenders. Yeah, especially for a lender, yeah.
Well, just hiring the right folks, I guess. Just kind of,
Hey, of course he's saying that because he just got hired over there a few months ago.
Oh, I see. They're
Hiring more people like yourself. You are the cause for all the new branches.
That's why Arizona is going to be successful for Axia.
Now, you just opened a branch on the west side, so you have a branch in Scottsdale now on the west side. So tell us a little about what you're looking for. There may be people out there that may be looking for a new lending gig.
Well, I was just hired on, as you said, with Axia as a sales manager for the West Valley. We haven't opened the office yet. We're still scouting out a good office space. But I have, many years of experience. As you know, you and I have, known each other for several years.
Right.
And I used to have my own brokerage in the West Valley, so I'm very familiar with the agents and the housing situation of the housing market out in the West Valley. So, the experience is what you get.
Excellent. Now, a couple minutes ago, we had another lender on prior to Wells, and we asked them, what's the magic? Why are you growing besides the people? Do you have any special loan programs out there that you want people to know about, or is it just the underwriting or how you process, or, what is it? What's the magic, the secret sauce?
The biggest thing that attracted me to Axia was the operations. We can get things done right away. I recently was doing loans for a big bank, and it's just night and day, and that's the biggest thing. A realtor can bring me a file, and I can meet the COE, the close of escrow date, without any issues at all, So our operations is just set the way it should be, and the process just runs as smooth as possible.
Now, how long has Axia been in business?
97, I believe, is when they...
97 years?
No.
Since 1997?
1897.
Yeah, 1897.
1997, I believe.
So it's a young company. You guys are just taking off and just exploding out there.
It's a fairly young company. Like I said, just the right people in place. And
now you're at the
visions.
National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals Convention. Does that mean you focus in? Do you focus in the Hispanic market, or is that just part of your market?
It's part of my market. I wouldn't say that I focus on it. It just happens to be that I'm Hispanic. I speak Spanish, so I can help those folks as well.
We win.
Yeah, exactly. So
we do. My Phoenix office does lots of immigration.
Really?
So we get a lot of Spanish-speaking clients. Probably 70% of our clientele.
What is it that you?
Windsor and Terrado. Windsor and Terrado.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I got to give you my card then.
You must, yes. And do you have a smartphone?
I do, of course.
I will give you mine over your phone.
Over my phone.
Isn't that cool? So that you can
really
save
cool.
it.
Now, he's too shy to say this, but his firm does a lot of short sales also. Talk about the different options, whether it's a bankruptcy or short sale. But if you run into realtors that are doing short sales and you need to have legal counsel, telling you, this is the man right here, and I was saying a lot of bad things about him earlier, and I'm going to say some good things about him. But they do such a wonderful job, and our company does a lot of their processing. So that's how we got to know the Windsor Law Firm. So yeah.
Well, good to know.
Well, thank you for sitting down with us. Good luck to you. I'm glad you landed at a wonderful company. Say hi to David Bartolotta. I know him, and Gina, all those folks.
Give your contact information.
Yeah,
as well.
you want to give out your contact information? Lean forward a little bit so people can hear you.
Axia Home Loans, Nick Vara, West Valley, 623-204-5680. Or you can email me at nick.vara, that's V like Victor, A-R-A, at axiahomeloans.com.
All righty.
Outstanding.
Now pull out your smartphone, and I'll get you my contact information right. We'll walk through that right now. It's high-tech stuff here.
Yeah, this is good stuff.
Well, thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
Let me push it back.